Hello there, people. Today, we will be doing the custom card review, in which I, the TheDuelLogs, will be reviewing the custom cards you sent in. This past day, I didn't give you guys very much time to prep. The theme was... I forgot. The theme was support for your favorite archetypes, I believe. So first up, we have Great Conductor Tyranno. I think this is dinosaur support. Let's see, cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by banishing a dinosaur and non-dinosaur monster from your graveyard. Just like the original one, when a level 6 or higher dinosaur monster is targeted by a card effect, quick effect, destroy one dinosaur monster from your hand or field, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy that card. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish it, special summon one Overtext Coatlas from your hand or deck, ignore its summon conditions. You only activate each of these effects once per turn. Until that last part, I was gonna say this is actually just worse than Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. But that graveyard effect saves it, that's really good. If it hits the field, it's more of a bonus, but you're really playing this card because of that graveyard effect. Next card, we have Spriggans Observer. Of course I picked this one because it's Spriggans. So, it's 2 machine monsters, including a Spriggans monster. I think there aren't any Spriggan Link monsters, and in fact, I don't think there's any Link monsters for the Albaz lore, is there? Are there any Link monsters for the Albaz lore? I don't think there is. I think they're all fusions, or XEs, or rituals. No? Isn't Tri-Brigade Albaz lore? Oh yeah, Tri-Brigades. They're all about Link monsters. The Splite? Yeah, Splites have one too. Or Synchros? No, they have Links. Tri-Brigades are all about Link monsters. Okay, so 2 machine monsters, including a Spriggans monster, can also be special summoned by detaching 2 materials from a Spriggan XYZ monster. That's good. Spriggans are all about getting a whole bunch of materials on their XYZ monsters. Each Spriggans XYZ monster that has a card pointing to this card gains 200 attack for each XYZ material under that card. You can only use the following effects of Spriggans Observer once per turn. During your turn quick effect, you can attach a Spriggans monster from your hand, field, or graveyard to one of your XYZ monsters this card points to. Ooh. Oh, it's only during your turn? Well, I guess their effects are hard once per turn, so it allows you to reattach them. During your opponent's main or battle phase, quick effect, you can banish this card and a monster your opponent controls until the end phase. Oh, that's better than the Spriggans. Whoa, whoever made this understands Spriggans. Yeah, this card's amazing. I kind of wish it was in the game. Or graveyard? Yeah, that's how the regular Spriggans work. Okay, we have another Spriggans fan here who sent this in. That's pretty good. Next up, we have Ancient Gear Giant. No, Gigant. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by banishing ancient gear monsters from your field or graveyard whose total levels equal or exceed 8. So kind of like Toon Blackluster Soldier summoning requirement. This card's name becomes Ancient Gear Gullible on the field or in the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target one card in the field and destroy it. You can only use this effect once per turn. So, it can banish monsters from the graveyard to summon itself, right? Yeah, okay, now that's better than the Toon Blackluster Soldier, because he has to banish cards from your hand or field. And the card has a good floating effect. The problem with this card that I see is its restrictions where it can't be normal summoned or set, and must first be special summoned from your hand. If this card simply just had that restriction wiped out, it'd be good. Like if it was simply, you can special summon this card from your hand by doing this, instead of you have to special summon this card from your hand by doing this. The reason it would be better is because it could actually be brought out with all their gear support, which is all about cheating out their monsters from the deck or hand or graveyard, like consistently. I don't know if there's any other archetype that just is built around cheating their big boss monsters out of the deck and graveyard and hand. Whereas this one, its effect would be perfect if it didn't have the restriction. Because it has the restriction, it's not really worth the effect. If you remove the restriction, it's great support for the archetype, especially since it has that floating effect. And it also has the name of Ancient Gear. Ancient Gear's whole gimmick is not affected by traps and it doesn't have that effect. That's true, but that effect is not really needed. It's underwhelming only because it has that restriction. Without it, it wouldn't be half bad. Next up, we have Parasitic Gays. Your opponent cannot target your Yugioh monsters with card effects. Also, their effects cannot be negated. This card's effects is based on the number of monsters you control. Yugioh, you contribute your opponent's monsters for its effect during the end phase. Ooh. Yugioh, the Terror Incarnate. Negate the effects of monsters destroyed by the effect of Yugioh Terror Incarnate. Ooh. For those who don't know what Yugioh does, It's a high-level monster with 0 attack and defense, which can't be destroyed by battle. And if your opponent attacks into it, your opponent takes the battle damage, I think instead or as well. I'm pretty sure it's instead. And then Terror Incarnate comes out when Yugioh goes to the graveyard, and it has the effect where during the end phase it destroys all other monsters on the field. So when it does that effect, it also has like the effects of the first Yugioh. Their effects are negated, which is pretty good. That's really good actually. And then Yugioh the Ultimate Nightmare. Yugioh the Ultimate Nightmare can attack each of your opponent's monsters once each, also banish any monster destroyed by that card's effect. So Yugioh Ultimate Nightmare can crash itself into your opponent's monster in order to deal damage to your opponent and destroy that card. So yeah, that's good. Your opponent must attack Yugioh monsters you control. At the end of your opponent's main phase, change all monsters they control to face-up attack position. Full effects are not activated at this time. So it's a 1 card, it's a field spell that fixes all of the problems of Yugioh by itself. Anti-synergy with Fire King. I mean, you wouldn't need Fire Kings if you had this card. So all you need to do is just release some other cards that allow you to actually search this out and protect it, and you're kind of good to go. Last effect is a bit too much. Your opponent must attack. Yeah, the last effect is not needed, but it's definitely another like strategy. Okay, next up, Baby Dogoran. This is more kaiju support. It's a level 2 dinosaur tuner. This card is treated as a kaiju monster while in the deck, hand, or in your graveyard. So, okay, basically what you do is, this is an effect that exists in the game. It's just it's usually in parentheses and says this card is always treated as a kaiju monster. There's no need to specify where, unless you don't want it to be treated as a kaiju monster while banished for some reason. If you control a kaiju monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Baby Dogoran once per turn this way. Once per turn, you can remove as many kaiju counters from anywhere on the field as possible. Target 1 kaiju monster, increase or decrease its level by as many kaiju counters removed. So this basically allows you to use your kaijus for high-level synchro plays, which would be pretty good. Not a kaiju. Does that mean you can give that to your opponent with Kaiju Slumber? Yeah, as it's worded, that's exactly how that works. But you can already give your opponent a Gamma Seal. You're just gonna do a little bit more damage than if you'd given them a Gamma Seal. Not being a kaiju in the field makes sense though. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, because there's gonna be 1 kaiju on the field. That's why it only specifies deck, hand, or graveyard. You're right. So just ignore what I said about it. Next up, we have Biorosas, the Flower Beast Kaiju. Can you attempt to summon this if you already have a kaiju in the field? Does it treat it as a kaiju in your hand? Oh, I think it's fine. Like, it's the other kaijus that have the effect that where you can't summon other kaijus. Like, you'd be able to summon this one. Must first be special summoned from your extra deck by sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard. You do not use polymerization. Alright, so Interrupted Kaiju Slumber brings this card out immediately. Once per turn, quick effect, you can remove 3 kaiju counters from anywhere on the field, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn, and also their attack is halved. That's like Forbidden Droplets without the spell speed 4. Contact Fusion makes me sad. I love Contact Fusion, because you can't protect against it. That's why the Cyber Dragon supports can get rid of Ultimate Falcon. Well, it could if Ultimate Falcon was immune. I think a better comparison would be Super Quantal Mech King Great Magnus, since it's immune monster that's machine type. Next up, we have Dogoran, the Rekindled Emperor. Whoa, 3,500 attack. Let's see what its effect is. This might be a target for Waking the Dragon. This card is treated as a kaiju monster while on the field or in the graveyard. Once per turn, you can remove 3 kaiju counters from anywhere on the field, banish all monsters your opponent controls. This card cannot attack turn activates its effect. Neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card's activation. Okay, that's pretty good. So, spell speed 4 destruction is good, as seen by Access Code Talker, but at least Access Code Talker can attack after doing that. This one can't. So, I'd still say it's pretty good, especially with the other support. Next up, we have Protection of the Possessed. This is a counter trap card, which has the effect where, when a card or effect is activated while you control a face-up spellcaster monster with 1815 attack or 1500 defense, negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. If you have at least 3 monsters with different attributes, you can activate this card from your hand. Ooh. So if you're playing the Charmers, and you get 3 monsters in the field, you basically have an Omni-Negate live at that point. You can banish this card from your graveyard, summon up to 2 Charmer Familiar Possessed monsters with 1500 attack or 200 defense from your hand or graveyard. Wait, what? It has a graveyard effect to go +2. Are you crazy? On a counter trap? Lojin loves this card. Yeah, you can't, no, it's not a floating effect, it's a graveyard effect. It's a graveyard effect that can't be, whatchamacallit, that can't be responded to. Not even once per turn? I mean, counter traps don't really need a once per turn. It's, yeah, it's really good. The thing is, Charmers suck, so a broken card like this probably wouldn't make them good enough to see play. Next up, oh my god, I forgot about this one. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Leia Asimov, Comfy Cutie. 1 worm or psychic tuner, 1 non-tuner monster. It requires 2 tuner monsters as its materials. It's broken and not enough. Hello, TheDuelLogs. Hello there. If this card was synchro summoned using a virtual world tuner monster as a material, your opponent can't target it with card effects. When this card is synchro summoned, banish all face-up monsters that were special summoned. Once per turn, you can target a synchro monster in your graveyard, equip that target to this card, then it gains attack and defense equal to the attack of that equipped card. If this card would be destroyed while equipped with an extra deck monster, you can banish 1 equipped card equipped to this card instead. Hey, that's appropriate. It basically equips Shen in order to gain protection, not have... Next up, we have Ally of Justice Turncoat. It's a level 4 monster. Special summon this card from your hand. Wait, you can special summon this card face down on your opponent's side of the field by summoning 1 Ally of Justice token. This is like Grinder Golem. Flip, your opponent can add an Ally of Justice card from their deck to their hand, then flip this card face down. You can only use each effects of Ally of Justice Turncoat once per turn. So there's no rules that say you can't just look at your cards that you have face down. So if you give this to your opponent, they can just never flip it face up and avoid the effect completely. There is a skill in Duel Links which gives your opponent a card, but it specifically has rules that say your opponent can't look at it. If this card had that same kind of like rule to it where your opponent wasn't allowed to look at it, they'd be more inclined to flip it face up. But chances are, since it also summons a token, they'd know what it does. So the only way to get this flip face up is to flip it face up yourself, unfortunately. You can attack into it though? Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, just attack it with the token. Yeah, the token can crash into it and not destroy it since it only has 1800 attack. It says 1800 defense. As opposed to the token having equal attack. See, you guys have the big brains. A light attribute Ally of Justice. It's also a tuner, so you're letting your opponent make Hulk. Yeah, you can let your opponent play Hulk if they flip it face up and give you a search. There is a good Ally of Justice hand trap though. All right, let's go to the next one. Next up, we have Ally of Justice Reprogramming. It's a spell card continuous. Once per turn during either player's main phase, pick 1 attribute. As long as this card remains face up on the field, all Ally of Justice cards that specifically affect light monsters affect monsters of the chosen attribute instead. You can banish this card from your graveyard, return an Ally of Justice card from your graveyard to your hand. You can only control 1 Ally of Justice Reprogramming. The graveyard effect is good, but the on-field effect isn't enough. It needs to do more than just let your Ally of Justice effects not be useless, because the effects, even if they are useful, are not very good. The Ally of Justice cards were designed around the fact that you'd be able to activate the effects easily. For some reason, as if they weren't bad enough already. Ally of Justice cards, for those of you who don't know, is an infamously bad archetype because their effects only work against light attribute monsters, and the effects are not even good. Next card, we have Gladiator Beast Resolve. Normal spell card, discard 1 card, special summon a Gladiator Beast monster from your deck. If all monsters you control when this card resolves specifically lists Gladiator Beast monsters in their text, then it's treated as a special summon by a Gladiator Beast monster. It's treated as being special summoned by a Gladiator Beast monster's effect, so it gains the effect of the Gladiator Beast monster. You can shuffle this card and one other Gladiator Beast monster card in your graveyard into your deck, add a Gladiator Beast spell trap from your deck to your hand, except this card. You only use this effect once per turn. This card is really good, but also ash bait. This card is just screaming ash bait all over it. Like, this card wants to be ash blossomed and joyous springed, but if it's not ash blossomed and joyous springed, it's an excellent extender. That's actually good, but can be ashed. It is really good, but it requires a discard cost for a special summon from the deck. And because the card is so good, I just can't help but think, man, this is just asking me to go -2 for an ash. Next one. Gladiator Beast Rudius. You can discard a Gladiator Beast monster, special summon this card from your hand. If special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast monster, which includes itself, special summon itself from the hand, you can shuffle a Gladiator Beast monster from your graveyard into your deck. Special summon a Gladiator Beast monster from your deck with a different type from that monster you control. From the monsters you control, whoa. At the end of the battle phase, if this card battled, shove into your deck, special summon a Gladiator Beast monster from your deck except this card. Yeah, this card's amazing. It recurs your resources in the graveyard to special summon from the deck and special summons itself from the hand. Someone here's a Gladiator Beast fan. Maybe we'll get some real Gladiator Beasts soon. Gladiator Beasts got really good support. It's just Gladiator Beasts inherently revolve around the battle phase, which is bad. Not once per turn? Yeah, we can just assume it's once per turn. Next up, we have Thumbs Down, Fate of the Gladiator Beasts. This looks like an anime picture. Continuous trap card. If you control a Gladiator Beast monster, you can activate this card the turn it was set. But during the end phase of this turn, take 2,000 damage if a Gladiator Beast monster did not declare an attack this turn. Whoa. If a Gladiator Beast monster is special summoned from the main deck, treat it as if it was special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast monster. Once per turn, you can tribute a Glad Beast monster, special summon a Glad Beast monster with a different original name from your deck. Oh, okay. So, since this card is a trap card, you can do this during your opponent's turn to disrupt plays. There's Gladiator Beast monsters that special summon and destroy monsters and traps. And spell cards, I mean. Oh, and the spells and traps. This gives Gladiator Beast monsters the ability to tag out during your opponent's turn to disrupt plays, or to protect themselves, or to just search, because some Gladiator Beast monsters recur resources when they're special summoned. Or disrupt the graveyard, because there's also a Gladiator Beast monster that banishes a card from your opponent's graveyard. Yeah, this is a really good card. Whoa. The other effects are superfluous. This is great. Thumbs up, exactly. Okay, everybody, that's it. Tell me, what was your favorite custom card of the review show today? Let me know down in the comments. And also, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.